Scrappy, Lucas Da Silva. How are things? It's State Week.
Can we just agree that this is the most exciting week of the high school season and just get it out of the way? This is the most exciting week of the year.
It is. I mean, I still go back to state duels being super exciting as well. And
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out which of the two, but I'm right there with you. This is what, everybody's worked extremely hard for a long time. And there's just a few matches in front of you. Get a few wins. Next thing you know, you're standing on top of the podium. That's pretty cool. You've done it. I've never done it.
Done it a trio of times, and I will say it now. I'm gonna say it probably a couple times throughout this intro and throughout all these videos. There's not feeling like it in high school wrestling. There really isn't. Like getting to stand on top of the podium in the, let's be nice and say, lovely Macon Coliseum. I'll get into my gripes with it eventually throughout these videos, but standing on top of the Macon Coliseum, looking at your parents taking pictures of you, your coaches and everybody. And it's a moment to really appreciate the work you've put in throughout the season and throughout your entire career to get to that point. Each classification, they have about 50, 60, 70 teams depending. So you got to think of it like this. We started with however many kids in your classification, and in your weight class, down to 12. I'm thinking,
right.
Whichever way it makes sense to the viewers. You guys get what I'm saying? We're down to 12. It's only you and 11 other guys, or girls, fighting for that top spot on the podium, fighting for some jewelry. And I was blessed to do it a couple of times. I'm excited to see. I think the biggest thing about state for me is the storylines, is the kids that, he's a senior and he's a two-time blood rounder and he's got one last run to make the podium, or a guy that maybe he's been a finalist the year before and now he's looking to slay old demons. You get the freshmen who are lighting up the world that want to try to go 4 for 4. And then the team race as well in a couple of these classes is going to be absolutely electric.
Yeah.
I'm buzzing. I'm hoping I could get to Macon this week. I don't know. We're going to see. It's conference week for the boys. And while I'm not wrestling, I will still have responsibilities. I hope I get to go to Macon because I'd love to see it in person, but I'm buzzing, man. It's Macon. The road to Macon.
It is the road to Macon. All right. So just so everybody knows, this is an intro that will go at the beginning of every single one of the videos that we're dropping. But after we finish this intro, we will cut it and actually go to a specific talking in detail about one of the classifications as well as the girls and that sort of thing. So just if you're really only interested in 1A, or you're only interested in 7A or this or that, we'll get to those in just a second. Okay. But in terms of, Lucas, you said storylines to begin with, just broadly speaking, regardless of what classification, because they'll all be there, right? If you were to pick one or two things that kind of everybody might want to be paying attention to as they walk in, what are a couple of those things?
I'm going to hone in on the first-time guys that maybe they're freshmen or maybe they're sophomore, junior, that last year they didn't make it to the state meet. I want you to take it in when you step into Macon. It's going to be 6 to 8 mats running, lots of people, lots of noise, and every coach and their mother is going to tell you the same adage of, hey, that mat is the same size as the one in our wrestling room. It's the same size as the mat. Take it in. Enjoy the experience. There's not a lot of opportunities you have. I would give it a lot to go wrestle in Macon again. Not that I like the arena. I don't like the arena.
Right.
But for the atmosphere. So first thing I'd say is to the guys who are going there for the first time, take it in. And on the same token, to the guys there for the last time, take it in. Really understand what you won't have again and be appreciative of that. And to the fans, I'm going to say, appreciate the wrestling going on. I can understand as a coach or as a parent, you may be so honed in on your son or daughter, as you should be. But man, with some of these matches going on in some of these brackets, take some time to watch some good wrestling if you can. Like, take some time. If you're just sitting there waiting on your son to wrestle, don't just be on your phone scrolling through Facebook or Imager or Twitter or Tumblr, Just watch some of the wrestling. Enjoy it. It's once in a lifetime to go to make and to do it multiple occasions that I had the blessing to do. It was incredible. So that would be my keys. Enjoy it. Love it.
So I would say, if you're not familiar, as far as another classification goes, the road to a state title for the teams in 7A is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to get to that when we get to 7A. Yeah. But I will tell you that if you want to be paying attention to what's going on in a team race, and all the team races are going to be great, but that team race is going to be special. And then the second thing that I wanted to say was kind of piggybacking off of what you said, in that you talked about the freshmen, the first timers and the last timers. The other part is that we always have somebody who comes in as a 6 out of a sectional who is not necessarily on anybody's radar, and they may not win it, but they make a run and they end up on the podium. And it's a very special feeling because they started out in a deep hole to get to that point. So
I got an even better story for you. My senior year at heavyweight, kid at a Cherokee, I think it was an alternate, gets in on a guy getting injured, and he makes a run to the state finals. And he eventually lost to who?
Fairchild?
Yes, thank you. I was thinking Fairchild. Yeah, he loses to Fairchild, but he took 9th, and because this is when it was top 8 that went, ladies and gentlemen. This was 16-man brackets.
Right.
He took 9th at sectionals, 9th, and made a run to the state final. Like,
yeah. So the storylines are huge. I mean, that's what we're going to kind of talk about when we get into the brackets. But it's going to be fun. Yeah,
you're going to have some Cinderellas where the glass slipper is going to fit for some of them, and they're going to have a story when they're older of, hey, I was the 5 seed at the state tournament. I knocked off a 4, or I knocked off a 6 seed, then I knocked off a 1. I made the way back to the finals, and I was wrestling the guy who beat me at sectionals, and I got the comeback, and I win the state title. There are going to be stories that come from this weekend of that, and to those kids, it's going to be something they remember for the rest of their lives.
All right, so you ready to jump into one of these?
Yes, I am. Which one's it going to? Just like I did with the rank, which one's it going to be? I don't know. They could be watching 5 for all we know.
Right. So let's jump in.
Storytelling. It's wonderful storytelling.
All right. We are here with Lucas Da Silva talking 3A, and I mean, honestly, Lucas, this is a classification where Columbus won a couple weeks ago in the duels over Gilmer.
One of the few things I actually called.
But, well, to be fair, the duels were chaotic and everything else. But one of the things that's interesting is that neither of those two teams enter with the most qualifiers this weekend. Both have hit a few bumps in the road along the way.
Bumps. Bumps is a word you could use. I might describe it as something else, but we could call it a bump.
So do you want to do? Let's touch on the team race, because we'll just kind of set the stage, and then we can talk about it in more detail.
Yeah, please, because I actually don't know who has the most in 3A. Please, inform me.
So Pike County has 10. They have the most. But what's interesting is they have 1 first, 1 second, 4 thirds, 1 fourth, 1 fifth, and 2 sixths. Then you have Lumpkin County, Pickens, and Ringgold, all with 9. Columbus has 8. Bremen has 8. Franklin County has 8. Adairsville has 8. Gilmer has 7, and so on and so forth. And
I believe in the preseason, I called 3A a fuster clock. I believe I used that verbiage in the preseason. And all this is done. It's proved my point from earlier this year that 3A is a chaotic mess.
It is.
This whole, I'm going to say it ahead of time. This whole classification, I'm throwing darts. Like, I was looking at some of the brackets earlier today, and I'm like, oh, God, I have no clue what's going to happen.
Yeah, no, I think that this is a super interesting classification. We talked about and another one, 6A, where there was a lot of possibilities as far as the top 5. I think the same holds true in 3A with a ton of possibilities.
Agreed. No, like that's things that there's legitimately just so many different possibilities that I'm like, okay.
All right, so let's jump to the brackets, talk a little bit about those, and then we'll come back to your top 5. Does that work?
Sure. Because I'm going to need to pick some of these brackets to make my top 5.
All right, so let's start at 138 pounds.
Okay.
Nathan Nielsen of Lumpkin County, a sophomore, 29-14, comes in as a section champ. Hagen Baker, Lafayette comes in as the section champ down at the bottom. Nielsen beat Philip Jacks, who I think is the only returning placer at the weight. This is, to me, if you look at the way they wrestled last week at sections, I think you can make a case for either of the section champs. But really, the only one that's been on the podium before is Philip Jacks.
Agreed. And this is going to be where I start making some interesting picks.
Well, that might be true for all of 3A.
Well, yeah, but we're starting at 38, so this is where it's starting. I really like Philip Jacks. He's a kid that I'm looking at for Team Fat and Scrappy for a reason. The kid never quits. You know, I know Nielsen beat him, and it wasn't handily. At least I'm not mistaken.
Actually, I think he beat him in overtime.
That's what I heard, is that it was overtime. I think while Baker's good, don't get that twisted. Hagen Baker can wrestle, as can, I'm going to throw one of the many dark horses you'll see me mention, Stephen Kinsley out of Stevens County. Streaky throughout the year, went on like, I think, a 5-match losing streak throughout the middle of the year. And I got told he was a little banged up, but now he's kind of back to relatively health. Give me Jacks over Nielsen in the final.
All right. Okay.
I think Jacks gets his win back. He's the only returning placer. He's been there before. He understands what it's like to be in Macon. I think that plays a big portion, especially in a bracket where all top 4 of your seeds are sophomores. All of them.
Yeah. No, that was actually something that stood out to me as well. Yeah.
I think that matters in this case. So, yeah.
All right. So let's jump to 144. Another Lumpkin County wrestler. And this is where they're going to have to really have some impact if Lumpkin County is going to end up winning the team title. TJ Payne comes in as the section champ. At the bottom, Tristan Bush is unbeaten. I believe he's a returning state placer for Ringgold. He looks fantastic. He beat a very good Jacob Balcom from Franklin County. So how do you see 144?
In this one, I see Tristan Bush holding his unblemished, and I believe he finishes the weekend on top of the podium. I like the kid a lot. I think he can bang with some of the best of them. I think he's a guy that's super underrated. I don't know if a lot of people know his name. If you have the opportunity this weekend, check out some of his matches. The kid is a stud. In the final, I think he's going to see Payne. I think Payne and Bachman are really close to, or Balcom, I think they're really close to each other. I just think Payne has a bit of an easier route to that point in the bracket, where I think it'll be enough where I think he'll get the edge. But in the end, I think Tristan Bush will end this season undefeated and unblemished.
All right. So jumping to 150 pounds, you have returning state champion Gage Lee, Pike County sitting on the top line. Got Nathan Bowen, who I believe is a state placer from Maconie County, on the bottom line. Jackson Delgado for Ringgold. Is it Ringgold? That
is Ringgold.
Okay, is Ringgold, who took second to Bowen, and Jonah Holmes, who is another Lumpkin County wrestler right there in the middleweights that they need some action from if they're going to win the title. Gage Lee, though, is the returning state champ.
Yeah. And that's why I'm picking him. He's been to the top step. He knows what it takes to get there. And not only get there, but do it convincingly. He's been there. He's done that. I think he's got a real good route through the bracket. I I think Delgado can wrestle. I think Delgado will challenge him, but stylistically, I just think Gage Lee is a really good matchup to beat Delgado. I see Bowen getting over Holmes, but I do want to just throw a guy's name out there. Out of Bremen, James Baumgartner. He's a junior. They only show 6-2, but I think he's somewhere in the 30-something win range this season. When I looked through on the OPC and saw matches, he has some good wins on the year. Don't be surprised if he gets on the podium, ladies and gentlemen. Don't be surprised.
So I don't know, but I think Lee beat Bowen in the finals last year.
I think he did as well, and I didn't want to say it, but
I think he did.
Sure.
Man, that would be something. I love potential rematches in the finals. That's just kind of fun.
No, I think that's part of what makes this special.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, so 157 pounds. You've got Tone Manella, who is a returning state champ on the top line. Lane Vaughn, who is the other section champ down at the bottom. A lot of good wrestlers in the middle there. But in 3A, there are a couple names when you go through 3A that stand out to you. And one is Anthony Manella.
Yes, I agree 100%. But when you look, I'm picking Tone to win the bracket, but man, that bottom side is a minefield. You got Grant Jones, who's probably going to wrestle Carson Cannon, who can bang with some of the best of them in the quarters. Winner of that is going to see Vaughn, or I'm going to say Berger or McPherson can win that, because again, you don't have all of McPherson's results. And I want to be frisky and pick Carson Cannon. I like the kid a lot, and he can, you know what? Give me Cannon to make a run to the finals.
Well, what's interesting is that Cannon lost to Manella in the semis, but on the opposite side. So, like, he never got a chance to see Jones, at least in last week's sectionals. And his only loss was to the best kid in the bracket.
Yes. And 22-7, he has some good wins on the year. Give me Carson Cannon. I think he'll get to the final, but in the end, I think it's Manella. He's incredible. He's one of the, like you said, you look at 3A, you open up 3A's record sheet, you see Tone Manella, your eyes stay there for a minute. And he's one of those guys in this division. If
you've watched wrestling, for several years, you definitely know the name, certainly because of his brother, but I mean, he wrestled at Baylor for years. He won a state title last year. You know the name. I mean, simply.
Yeah, and I will say this: Philip Manella, Tone Manella, Vinny, Miss Manella. Oh God, I'm forgetting Miss Manella's name, and I love that woman. She's an incredible woman. Oh God, I'm gonna get murdered if I see Tone, Vinny, or Phil or Mr. Manella at state this week. Family friends of ours. Those are paisans. They've ate at my house before. I love the Manella family. Great people. I can't wait to see what Tone does after high school. But that's beside the point. Just want to make that clear that, look, I'm clear when I'm biased. I'm going to make it clear to everybody when I'm making my picks. When I have personal biases, I will tell you. For example, I'm getting a Mountain View tattoo on the bottom of my foot at some point in my life just so I could step on them every step I walk. Right?
What tattoo?
Some of you logo. I'm getting the MV. I'm going to get it on the bottom of my big toe. You think I'm playing. You think I'm playing, but I'm not.
All right, let's move to 65. Jake New from Wesleyan is a section champ. Zillion Hammond from, I think it's Monroe area, right?
What a name. Yes.
Yes, is the other section champ. This is a good bracket. And really, I'm trying to look at who, New wrestled super well last weekend.
But did you know that New knew?
Did I know that? No, I did not know New. No, I did not.
But I knew that you didn't know New.
Am I saying it right? Is that how you say his name?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I've only seen results of him. I've never met the lad. I've never met him. I've never met the Donnie. But you know what? He's a killer.
So both of them handled their sections really pretty
and that's
easily.
The thing is, I feel like we're kind of on a collision course. and I'm just going to throw this out there now because I can name this in every bracket, basically. Hey, Puff for Franklin County, Purser for Lumpkin, Brown for, nope, that's not Pike, excuse me, that's Peach, excuse me. No, sorry, yeah, Barron for Pike. Hey, you guys are super important. Like, Mason Powell for Pickens, you're really important. Like, go get some points on the backside. So
agreed. And I think we could have said the same thing about Grant Jones from Lumpkin County in the last bracket. Super important. I'm not saying
it for every bracket because every bracket there's like 4 or 5 guys because of how much of a buster cluck 3A's team race is going to be. I'm going to make the pick now. 3A's team race is going to be the closest of anybody.
Ooh, closer than 6A?
Yep. Ooh, wow. You know what? Give me. I think 3A's is going to be closer because in 6A, I feel like there's 2 tiers. I think you have the top 3 or 4 in 6A, and there's a little bit of a gap between the rest of them. Here, from 1 to like 7.
All right.
Hey, now, Jason, look at me. Like, well, what do you want me to do? This is darts and popcorn written all over it, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, these shirts are still on sale until probably the end of February. This summer, I'm doing a darts and popcorn run. I have to. Because I need to have darts. I really should. And it's going to be the same type thing, too. Darts and popcorn. But I'm going to throw the picture you did. I love. Just put darts in a popcorn bucket.
Is it going to be a big, like, dart board on the back? Or, like, do you know what the design's going to be yet?
I want to have the fat guy holding a popcorn bucket that has darts in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
That would be cool. I bet you Fretwell could design that for you.
Oh, bro, the day this goes up, Fretwell's going to have that done for me because he's the best guy ever.
All right. Did you pick a winner?
Yes, new over Zillion.
All right. Okay. Jump into 175. We talked about names that stand out. I mean, obviously, Division I commit, North Dakota State. Tyler Sequoy is the name that stands out at 175 pounds. Not to take anything away from Brady Sims or anyone else in the bracket, but he is a heavy favorite to claim another state title.
Yes, I agree, and I think that that's what's going to happen. A guy that I do like in the bracket is Carter Pizell of Jackson. He got second to Sequoy last week, but had some good wins throughout section and even in his area. So I think that in the grand scheme of things, this is Sequoy's to lose. I'm picking Sequoy to win the bracket, and I really like me some Brady Sims.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to take Pizell of Jackson. I think he'll get to the final, and I think he will lose to Sequoy there, but I think he'll beat Sims in the Sems. Now, when Sims beats him, he can then yell at me, and Sims will have a right. It just seems to be that the pastime of Georgia high school wrestlers is yelling at Lucas Da Silva. And honestly, half the time I deserve it. So, you know what?
Half of the time?
Watch it. Watch it, Fulmore. I'm giving you more content about the state of Georgia than anybody. You better watch it. You better watch yourself. I'll stop doing these rankings tomorrow and make you do all the work.
I just won't do it. Too much work. Too much work in the state of Georgia. Man, you guys got to fill out your freaking, like, you got to put stuff on track. Make life easy for us.
Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started, Jason. Like, I'm not doing this. I'm going to lose my mind.
All right. So jump into 190, a super good weight class in 3A. You got Diego Jacinto, excuse me, on the top line, St. Fairbanks on the bottom line, both seniors, both state placers. I think Jacinto was second last year. Is that right?
Yes.
Let's see. Is that right? Do you know that?
I do believe so, yeah.
Okay, yeah. He was second last year. What was Fairbanks? Do you know?
I think third or fourth.
He was third. Yeah. So, and then you got DeBow, who was third as well. So
if they DeBow can wrestle as well, another guy to watch out for me is Kevon Durham out of Monroe area. I probably butchered that, and if I did, excuse me, sir. As well as Nathaniel Walker, lost to Fairbanks rather convincingly, but I don't want to say convinced. Score doesn't show, but either way, lost to him last weekend. Whatever the case may be, I'm gonna make a pick here that. While I do like this kid a lot, and he's been in a couple of my camps, and I think he's put all the right work in the summer. While I think Jacinto's a killer, Give me Zane Fairbanks to get to the top step of the podium this year. I've seen that kid on Snapchat putting in more work than I've seen nearly anyone this season, any class, any weight. I don't think I've seen a single snap of that kid not in the wrestling room and or the weight room.
I'll tell
I
you.
think he'll get.
So these are the brackets, and we talked about, I think it was in the intro, the storylines. And, kids who have previously been on the podium have gotten to, they've been close. They just haven't been able to climb to the top step. It's their senior season. That's what we have in this bracket.
Yeah. And you got two guys who are both seniors and are in the same position. You got one last shot at making. Well, so let me tell you guys something.
It was also third last year.
Oh, I forgot about I forgot you said that. So, hey, if you get the opportunity to watch bouts 32-14 and 32-86, you should. Hey, let's also keep in mind Nathan Walker's in this bracket, and he's a senior. I don't know if he was on the podium last year, but I think he was a qualifier at the very least. So in a situation of seeds hold, all four of your semifinalists
he was a state runner-up last year.
Oh my, okay. So this bracket is now a minefield. This is gonna be one of those brackets where if you could watch those sems and finals, you should, because these guys are going to be giving everything they have. They're going to be throwing the kitchen sink at each other. Like, this is where you get a kid who's going to pull something out of his tail that you didn't know he had in the arsenal. You didn't know he had it in the locker, but he did. And he has it for this exact moment, and someone's going to make something happen. Give me Fairbanks over Diego. Final answer.
So last thing I'm going to add is the other person you need to look at is Jaqueline King from Pike County, who was also a state placer. So we're talking like a lot of kids who have been on the podium before, none of them at the top. You're taking Fairbanks in a loaded bracket.
A bracket that him winning it, I think, will cement his career in a really nice fashion, put a bow on it, winning such a loaded bracket.
Yeah. All right, so we jump ahead to 215 pounds, where we've got on the top line Caleb Nicholson, 20-1 from Pickens, returning fourth place wrestler, and Caleb Turner, who is the other sectional champion down at the bottom. What is MOCO? Is that Morgan County?
I believe it's Morgan County, yes, sir.
So Caleb Turner was a state placer as well last year. Another weight class that has wrestlers who have been to the podium, been onto the podium, but have yet to climb onto the top step. Turner's just a junior, so it's not as high stakes, although he's got to feel like this is your opportunity, right? So,
yep. I'm actually going to call a bit of an upset. Right. I really like David Beverly out of West Hall. I do. Okay. I've seen the kid wrestle a couple times. I really like him.
Yeah.
I think he will knock off Caleb Turner and get to the finals in his senior campaign. However, I do have Caleb Nichols in the end finishing the weekend on the top step of the podium.
Yeah, I will say Nicholson only beat him 2-1 last weekend in the sections.
And I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if the match goes nearly the exact same and it's a 2-1, 3-2 type of match. I would not be surprised if that happens again.
All right, jump into the heavyweights. You got Tyranny McGowan, who I believe was a state placer a year ago for Columbus, is one of the two section champs. Gabe Lowe of Gordon Lee, who I'm going to look up real quick, who was not even a state qualifier a year ago, I think as a freshman. No, I don't know. I don't have a weight class, or I don't have a grade for him. But
he's an ampersandian.
Yeah, I know. I hate it when they do that.
Thanks, Track. Love you.
But McGowan has wrestled super well. Is certainly, at least in my opinion, the favorite in the bracket based upon last weekend's sectionals. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. And I have half a mind to take JD Trowell to get to the final, but I'm going to pick Gabe Lowe to get to the final for Gordon Lee, but in the end, I have McGowan taking the top step of the podium in his junior campaign. He will win the state title at the heavyweight.
Well, that would give Columbus 2 now, right?
Yes. Oh no, let me tell you something. Trying to keep track. There's a reason I'm also picking finalists so that I know, like, okay, how
Right.
many actually? Yeah, because I'm gonna need you again to read me how many qualifiers are from each. Because boy, this is gonna get real interesting when we get to the end.
All
This is
right.
gonna get real funky.
Well, we're getting
Like,
close. We're getting close to the end. So yeah, no doubt. All right. So 106 pounds. We have the possibility of another state finals rematch. Juan Rafael is the returning state champ. Adonis Sanchez, I believe, was the runner-up to him a year ago. Rafael won, I think, in a very close match. Both are back at 106 pounds. Rafael's a senior. Sanchez is a junior. I mean, based upon the history, you would think that those two are going to be in the finals.
you would, wouldn't you?
Oh, you going to disagree?
Well, I really like Aiden Stanley out of Pike. I really do. And how'd him and Rafael go at sectionals? How close was that match?
How did Stanley and Rafael go?
Yeah, the finals.
Yeah, let's see here.
So
Sanchez beat Butler 4-0. I think Rafael won 8-0. Yeah, 8-0.
That makes sense. You know, there's not many things in life that motivate a man like me. But one of the things that does is
Red Bull, right?
No. That motivates me is good old-fashioned revenge. And you want to talk about a storyline. Imagine if Sanchez gets to the state finals and sends Rafael out of the state, relatively speaking, not winning a state title in his senior campaign. And this kid Sanchez, man, I've seen him. I know he only says 5-0 on his record for some reason because, you know, track's amazing. And I guess people in Georgia don't have internet and they still use dial-up and telegrams, which is fine. If you don't know how to use track, I'm convinced you're half a monkey. But neither here nor there.
Well, they won't be watching this because they won't be doing YouTube, right?
They'll be contacting each other through smoke signals to figure out what happened in the bracket draws. You know what? I'm gonna do it. Give me Sanchez. Give me Sanchez over Rafael. I'll make the pick.
All right. That's a bold pick.
Yes, it is. Sanchez, make me look like a genius. Rafael, make me look stupid.
All right. So moving to 113. Coming in, I would have thought Mason Persons was the favorite. He is a returning state runner-up at 106 pounds. I think that's where he was a state runner-up at. But he lost to Grayson Cooper in the section finals, and he lost 10-8. He only beat Lightsey 3-2, who could be his quarterfinal match. Gavin Summey is the other sectional champ at the bottom. I think does that lean it towards Grayson Cooper? What do you think?
So, first off, this bracket is super loaded. You also, on the bottom side of that bottom side is nasty. You got Leonardo Domingo in there from Gilmer, who seemingly pulls off close matches with really good guys. I almost want to say out of nowhere, but I want to be disrespectful because it's happened now a lot. So you think at some point I would start realizing, oh, hey, but in the end, give me Cooper over Persons.
Over Persons.
I think Persons will get through Sumry. No disrespect to Sumney, but I just think Persons, he's been here before. He made a deep run last season. I think he's gonna make a similar deep run, but Cooper got him. And it just feels like it's one of those matches where they were both throwing everything they had at each other, and Cooper got it done. So I think we'll see a similar match. Don't be surprised if that's a double-digit score match. But in the end, give me Cooper.
All right. So moving to 120, JT McDaniel from Columbus is your section champ up top. Landon Brown from Gordon Lee is your section champ at the bottom. I think Brown is a returning qualifier. McDaniel's a returning placer. Sitting there at the number 2 spot, though, who has now lost to McDaniel twice in the last few weeks, is Carson Ferris from Gilmer, who's super tough. Definitely somebody to watch. I see some other names within there. You could shout those out. But how do you think this one plays out?
I mean, sorry, I was trying to keep track of my not points here, but I mean, yeah, this bracket is nutty. You also got a guy like a Harrison Krause in there from Hart, who I believe was undefeated going into section. I do believe that 22-1 is actually accurate, believe it or not. You also got a Danny Leidy in there from Kahula Creek, a freshman who got himself a good little run and is now into a good spot in the bracket. Connor Kirby, I think it's Calvary Day. Yeah, Calvary Day. He also draws Chris Knight off the scale. Give me McDaniel over Ferris in the final, but boy, I'm throwing darts because that bottom side makes me feel like anyone can win it.
All right. Let's move to 126 in a weight class that I think is super interesting. Another, you got a Pickens wrestler, Dylan Gonzalez, sitting there at the section champ. Pierce Pennington from Ringgold down there at the other sectional champ. Caden Autry is in there. Drake Goff is a freshman. But, this is a weight class. I don't know. Let's see. Autry is a returning placer. 6th year ago. Pennington is a returning qualifier. I don't think Gonzalez was either last year. I don't know if he was there or not there, but his name has popped up several times. So how do you think this plays out?
This is a full dart for me. No, because I like Autry. I also like Goff, and another guy to watch out for to me is Hunter Page at Franklin. 47-15 on the year. Has some good wins and some good matches. Mary Persons, Dylan Ivey, he's 41-9 on the year. Again, another Gilmer guy, Alex Raymundo, I believe is how you say his name. He's sitting in a weird spot in the bracket. 28-15 on the year, though, as a junior. Give me Pennington over Gonzalez. But boy, I could damn near see this being an Autry Goff final too. Or this could be Pennington Goff, Pennington Page, Pennington Gonzalez, Autry Goff. Like this could be near. There's 5-6 guys I think that can make the finals.
I agree with that. Yeah,
it's just gonna be who has their day.
But you believe if you were putting money down, you would put Pennington as
yes, champ. No, and I'm making that pick. That is the pick I'm making.
Okay, all right. 100.
Can someone tell me what happened to Win? Did Win get hurt again?
Yes,
bro.
He got hurt. He got hurt in the duels.
God, I feel for that kid, man. Damn, bro. That hurts my heart, bro.
Yeah, because otherwise kid, McDaniel would have been at 26 and Win would have been at 20.
No, I was wondering what happened. Man, I love that kid because he just works his tail off, bro.
Yeah.
Damn. My fault. I had to ask because I noticed. I was like, wait, where's he at? I was like, is he at 32? Like, I was like, did he get really big? Like, I was trying to figure out what happened. Damn, that's crazy.
No, he got hurt in the first match at state duels. So, all right. So 132 pounds. Another Lumpkin County wrestler, Austin Marshall, is a section champ. Andrew Smith, Hart County, is down at the bottom. The other section champ. Both of those guys have solid wins last weekend in the section finals. Marshall beat Bregan Berry of Gilmer. Master Langelo of Bremen took third, which is another, I think, state placer. Andrew Smith beat Kenley Evanson, Evanson from Franklin County, who I believe was a state runner-up last year. So, I mean, Smith was a placer, but beats a returning state runner-up. Marshall knocks off Berry. Man, again, another weight class where, is it darts?
Yeah, this is kind of darts for me because I damn near want to be frisky and pick Evanson and Berry to get to the final. Because what's funny is I think Evanson is a better matchup against Marshall and Berry's a better matchup against Smith. Like, stylistically speaking, I feel like the way it worked out best for both of them.
You know, a person that you should keep an eye on in that bracket is Hudson Moss.
Yeah. What happened? Well, what happened to him at sectionals? I wanted to ask that. I was going to ask.
Yeah. So I actually, as I looked through this, he took fourth and he lost to Evanson 13-6 in the semis.
Okay.
So
you know what? Let's have some fun here. Since I'm going to be wrong on 3A anyways, I might as well have some fun while I'm at it. This one I have 6A, I feel good about most of my picks for championship. Here, Give me Evanson over Berry.
Okay. All right.
Again,
I don't think it's a crazy pick.
It's not, but the thing is, yeah, give me Kenley Evanson to take the top step of the podium, beating Bragan Berry in the final. That's one where if I'm wrong, I'm not even halfway surprised. Because I've seen Smith, Berry, Mastrangelo, Evanson, Lowe, and Marshall. I've seen 6 of the guys in the bracket this year wrestle.
Have you seen him you saw him this year? I've seen him. I just haven't seen him this year necessarily.
I caught some of them at events, and then I also got tape on some of them from other people. By the way, to the people that send me brackets and tape, thank you. I appreciate you very much. You know who you are. I've been asked not to out people, so I'm not, but prayer hands. Thank you. No, they asked me not to. I'm not outing them. Thank you. So,
all right.
Boy, so this team race is interesting.
Yeah. So let's wrap this up. So what is the team race like? Like who is going to win? Start with 5. Can you do a countdown, or can you not count that direction?
Give me.
Go ahead.
Give me 1 second. For the people that run down the most qualifiers again for me a second.
So Pike County has 10 with 1 champ and 1 runner-up. Lumpkin County has 9, 3 champs, 2 runners-up. Pickens has 9, 2 and 1. Ringgold has 9, 2 and 1. Columbus has 8, 3 and 1. But I know you picked 2 champs up for them, at least. Maybe 3 champs with McDaniel. Bremen has 8 with 1. Franklin County has 8 with 1. Gilmer has 7 with 2.
All right, I'm doing it in 6A. I don't care if y'all like it or not. 5th is going to be Bremen, Gilmer, Franklin. Take your pick. So that's 5th through 7th. Give me Lumpkin in 4th, Ringgold in 3rd, Pickens in 2nd, Columbus in 1st. But the thing is, this one is the most where I'm like, I have no clue what's going on. Like,
there's a lot of uncertainty.
My picks. Yeah, that's the thing, is that there's a lot of uncertainty. That's my picks. Hold me to them. Wrong, right, or indifferent. Hold me to those picks.
All right. That is 3A. We appreciate you guys tuning in. And do you do it like that? How do you do it? Yeah, okay. No, I'm a freestyle guy.
Yeah. That looks like I'm flipping you the bird. That I didn't think about that. My fault.
Thanks for tuning in for 3A. Check out one of the other classifications. And man, enjoy your time in Macon. Good luck to everyone who's competing. It's gonna be a wild one. Lucas, I appreciate the time, man.
Always, man.